Today I want to talk about possibly my favorite piece of desktop gear in 2025 so far. It's not the cheapest. It's nearly $1,000. It doesn't have all the streaming capabilities that I prefer, and it even has some quirks that had me confused at times. But all that being said, this might be as close to perfect as I've seen for something like this, especially a do-it-all kind of command center for audio type product. And just to give you guys an idea on how I feel this one does sound, better than anything else I've had in for this purpose. We're gonna cover the highs, we're gonna cover the lows on the FiiO K17. This isn't one you wanna miss. This retro looking little box, little being relative, right? It's not a full-size piece of gear, but it's also not a compact desktop design. The K17 has completely transformed my desktop audio experience over the past couple months. I can easily say that I've listened to more audio over my headphones in the past 2 months than the prior 6 months combined that I've had this in. First of all, I really like the look on this. This unit really made a strong impression on me before I even fired it up. It's incredibly well built. We have venting on each panel, and this screen on the top that really gives it a nice polished look, rather than just a hole into the capacitor abyss. The finish is just the right amount of shine to it that makes it pop, but also doesn't leave any fingerprints. This is one area that I'm still second guessing my color selection. I really like the look of the silver here, but that black unit has me feeling away as well. It really just comes alive with the screen, the lighting, and that dark contrasting black case. So, I don't know. I like the silver. I think the black looks fantastic too. I also really like that we're greeted with a perfect mix of tactile and digital. We get these really nice knobs for power, output selection, and that output selection includes like headphone plus pre-out, headphone out, pre-out, then finally line out. I've been mixing and matching the outputs with everything I have in-house, from several different types of headphones and IEMs, as well as taking advantage of the pre-outs. For the budget side of things, I brought in that new Weem VibeLink amp, as well as some Mica speakers. That covered more of the budget-friendly side of things. And then I was starting to get a little bit wild and I brought in the Buchart A10s, which is an incredible near-field speaker. They have some custom tuning options for that near-field that really does a superb job. Sorry I got sidetracked there. I think I could just go on and on and on all the different pairings I had. It was honestly just a lot of fun mixing and matching the gear with this unit. But back to the controls, we have a gain switch with a really wild range of gain for pairing with, well, basically anything. We have low, medium, high, super high, and ultra high. And that's certainly a quirk of the unit too. I never went above high. I honestly didn't feel that I really needed to. This in the jump from high to super high is a bit of a jump. And I think you could look at that as a quirk as well. It's a serious jump, so just keep that in mind if you have the unit in. High is gonna cover 90% of your bases in my opinion. I like the options, but honestly 3 would have been good here. What do you guys think would come after ultra high? Is it super ultra high? Snoop Dogg? Willie Nelson? It's gotta fall somewhere in there, I would imagine. End of the day, the knobs are great, and they're really well done. Actually better than anything I've ran into recently. It still doesn't match up to the nice clunk from a vintage receiver in the 70s, but it's not far off, and I truly appreciate what they did here. So I don't personally insert a lot of sponsorships in my videos, but if I do, I always try to keep it within the lines of products that I feel like the audience will enjoy or could actually use. I would guess I get around 10 offers a day from everything from welders, plasma cutters, all the way up to red light hair regrowth machines. They obviously missed the memo that bald is beautiful, am I right? Today you'll notice a lot of B-roll was filmed at my new desk from Flexispot. This is their E7L model. It's an L-shaped desk that gives me all the room that I could ask for. It's especially nice having the L off to the side here for holding all the various pieces of audio gear that I have in for testing at my desk. This is the bamboo top version. You can get these in several finishes and sizes. Even the frame has color options. Like I mentioned earlier, I generally only bring in ad spots if it's a product that I actually enjoy. And the desk that was in this place before this one, that was a Flexispot as well. Some things that stand out to me on these is the actual quality is really good. The desk weighs a ton, and I would have no worries basically having my entire family stand on this one. The lift on this one feels like it could essentially double as a car lift. It's sturdy, it doesn't have a wobble, and in this configuration, the desk can be set up as left or a right-hander with these wings here. It can move to either side. Giving you guys a quick look at the bottom, it's clean, cables are routed nicely, and we even get options like a cable management tray and an additional add-on drawer for storage. That's perfect for keeping all those cables that you're likely to never use again, but you don't want to throw away just in case. The height adjustment memory settings mean you can go from sitting to standing with one button. That's great for when you suddenly remember you've been sitting for 5 hours straight and your fitness tracker is silently judging you. We have some preset options you can set there as well. And the motor is actually pretty quiet on this one, unlike my neighbor's lawnmower that seems to know exactly when I hit the record button for these videos. Every single time. Check out Flexispot's E7L if you're tired of playing desk Tetris with your gear and you want to level up your workspace without taking out a second mortgage. Your back, your tech, and your cluttered desk will thank you. Check out the links in my description to learn more about the Flexispot E7L today. The tactile portion of the review wraps up with the menu dial control on the left here, and that lets me select between my inputs, which there's an absolute ton of, and hence why I call this thing a command center. To run down the inputs quickly, we get streaming, local playback, Bluetooth, balanced in, line in, coax, optical, and USB. The dial on the right simply controls the volume. Any changes to the volume shifts over to this really well done volume graphic on the screen here. So we covered the tactile domain, and now we're gonna move on to digital. A lot of these products just have a simple little screen. A lot of times it's just for looks. This one is actually functional in basically every way you could imagine. It looks unassuming at first. You're gonna see your source, format, sample rate, output mode, and even album art depending on how you're connecting to the unit. That's just touching on the surface on this one, because a swipe to the left brings up all your inputs, as well as your library controls. A swipe to the right, and that brings up a very comprehensive but easy to operate menu structure. And while I don't like to dwell too long on particular functions, I do really like to highlight usability so you guys know exactly what to expect if you were to get this in. One thing that drives me nuts on some of these YouTube reviews is when you watch something for, 10-15 minutes, and when it's all said and done, you really have no idea what it's like to interact with the product. If this is something that, is gonna be driving you insane after a week, I want all of you to know that. Send me a subscribe if these are the type of videos and reviews that you guys are interested in too. Thankfully, this isn't the case with this one. The menu on this one is powerful, yet it's really simple. So let's cover the basics of, just all the options here. Play settings are gonna cover how playback is handled, sequential being default, with options like shuffle and loops are in there as well. The equalizer is really powerful on this one. You can go into here and either turn it off completely, or turn on a preset that fits your preferences. Or what might be a better option, set up a custom EQ that are available at the end here. This actually has a 31 band PEQ that can either be configured from your computer, and then you're gonna input it over the USB, or what's likely gonna be much better and easier than that, and only recently available over a firmware update, is the ability to set this up over the FiiO Control app. The app was a big win for anyone who wants to work within the EQ. The app is still a touch limited when it comes to controlling the K17, but it's moving in the right direction. Next, we have the filters. I won't say one is better than the other. Filters are kind of like flavors. Just find one that fits you personally. You can set the max volume, and it might be worth considering as this one does have a ton of power. Balance for the difficult situations and fine tunings. Network settings, I have this connected over Wi-Fi, but a wired connection is available as well. Brightness, I have this selected at level 4 currently, as you can see. There's some more options here too. Screen time, which turns the screen off after a selected amount of time. The lighting can be customized. I have them selected as red at the moment, but all the color options are available, as well as a few party tricks like breathing and the brightness of the lights altogether. Or even turn it all off if you want to go into more of a stealthy look. When I first got this in, we only had one theme to choose from. I have this on the new theme here, but I can quickly show you what the original was as well. The original gives more of a vintage vibe with the color. You can go back and forth. I think both of them are pretty cool. We have the trigger controls here, simply on and off, idle time off, USB, UAC settings, which could come into play especially for using this with a gaming console. Other, which has your firmware updates and reset options, and the about, and that has just, IP, version information, things like that. Just a note about the version and firmware updates, if you previously watched any reviews on the firmware update process, it was a little complicated on the initial release. You had to complete 2 updates, one over a jump drive and another connected directly to the unit over the USB-C. That has since been updated on the new firmware, so you can receive updates over the air at this point. Finally, the feature everyone loves, a swipe up, and that's gonna bring you a set of VU meters. 2024 was the year of the digital VU meter, and it looks like 2025 might be too. It's a little bit laggy, but it's still very welcomed. I think things like this, there's just nothing wrong with it. Mixing in a bit of fun is great on a product like this. Before covering my thoughts on the sound, let's quickly wrap up the connections. The front gives you a 3.5 single-ended, 4.4 balanced as well as XLR. In balanced mode, you get a very respectable 4 watts at 32 ohms per channel, and I'll post up the rest up here for you guys to check out. Power was never an issue here with any of my pairings. Maybe outside of the obscure, this one is going to power everything you throw at it well before needing to go past the 3rd level of gain. The rear of this unit is well covered with digital inputs and outputs over coax and optical, a lift switch for grounding issues, a trigger, USB RS-232 for connecting to the unit to, upload PEQ filters, things like that. But like I mentioned, that can all be completed now using the app after the latest update. Then another USB-C in, a standard USB for an external library of music, a wired LAN connection, a ground post, a 4.4 balanced in, a line in and out, and finally balanced outputs. I'm honestly not sure if this thing is really missing anything. It's offering more than the competition, and I can actually get behind the price that they're asking for it. This one really feels like it's worth it in so many cases. Inside, they didn't cheap out on the DAC either. It's the very well-liked pair, the 4499 EXs and an AK4191. As far as the DAC performance goes, FiiO does a really fine job, and it's something that I've noticed on some of their other products as well. It's one thing to use good hardware, but I found that it's much more important how it's actually implemented. Powering your headphones will be a Class AB amp on this one that has a flavor that I think a lot of you are going to gravitate to, but more on that in just a bit here as I wrap this up. If anything, I've really come to enjoy FiiO hardware. It's always overbuilt, and they make really good design choices. If anything, the software is where I think the next step needs to be, but talking with the company, they're aware of it and they're working on updates for this, as well as products like the S15 here that could totally take them to a new level. Let's talk sound quality now. A product like this can practically do anything. Certainly connect to anything, but it really doesn't matter if it sounds like hot garbage. I did extensive testing with this one on a variety of gear, and I can plainly state this is my favorite headphone amp to date. It has a balance of technical precision and musical refinement like nothing else that I currently have in. The bass is rich and precise. You can easily pick up on the tones and textures, and just to speak frankly, the biggest impact on this is the endpoint, the headphone itself in this case. But the K17 navigated this just right, providing everything your headphone needs for success. The mid-range has vocals and instruments coming across in a very natural way. Everything has life and character, and the top end was just enough to give you that sparkle without ever becoming offensive. The soundstage was good, maybe not best in class for this price point, but I would say it's nothing to scoff at here. Placement and separation was particularly enjoyable, and I really found myself listening to more well-recorded live performances with this combination. Something about it just really felt alive to me. As this is being discussed as an audio command center, I obviously had to pair this up with an external amp and speakers. I routinely switch back and forth on outputs, so this being functional is a top priority for myself. Thankfully, they made it really simple here. Everything can be controlled from the front switch. They avoided 2 pitfalls that a lot of devices have. Either a switch on the rear of the unit, or having to unplug your headphones to get an output over the speakers. Both being a major inconvenience in my opinion, and really not something that we should have to deal with in 2025. So no issues there, but I personally feel devices like this always benefit from a remote. Headphone usage is fine because generally you're in an arm's reach of the K17. But when you're listening to speakers, it's nice to have the volume and track control without having to physically get up or load up the app on your phone. The remote included here covers all your basic functions, track controls, volume, as well as some more specialized things like EQs, modes, and lighting options. It's a simple remote, and it probably could be better served with something a little bit more substantial, but it does work fine. Wrapping this one up before I go too far into the details, it's sort of a trap on this one. It has so many features and options. I could easily drag a video out to, over 25 minutes, but I don't think that's necessary here. Let's wrap it up for who this is for and what it still needs. As for who it's for, basically anyone at a desktop who enjoys high-end audio. The sound character and the level of customization is top tier in this category. It's also a perfect match for the person who has a complicated setup. This is likely going to cover all your input-output needs, and if it doesn't, maybe the problem isn't the K17. Maybe it's you. Jokes aside, this had all my desktop wants and needs covered. It's also for the user who likes technology, but doesn't have a degree in quantum physics. I really enjoy Eversolo products like this DMP A10 here. It's actually an incredible unit, but I fully admit there have been times I've had to Google something within the menu system to even know what I was changing. The K17 is detailed, but it's simple to navigate. So what could send this to the next level? Simply more streaming integrations. This is an area where FiiO really has an opportunity to grow. Even a Tidal Connect and Spotify Connect integration could have really went a long ways here. It would also eliminate the need to add an additional streamer on top of this if you don't want to connect this to their integrated options or have it connected to your PC. Secondly, while the software operated smoothly for almost everything, I did have a few hiccups when it came to album art. Occasionally, it would be stuck and it wouldn't update it until I reconnected the stream. This is likely a simple fix over firmware, but it's just something that I wanted to bring up as an observation. Beyond the internal software for the K17, we have the app, FiiO Control. And while it's getting better and can control things like the PEQ, it still has a ways to go, and I'd like to see it control more functionality of the unit. And even better, integrate some of the streaming platforms like Tidal, Amazon, Qobuz, etc. If you've been putting off upgrading your desktop unit for the right buy, this just might be it. It's strong in nearly all areas and should have you covered for power and connectivity. It's my current pick for desktop items like this under $1,000. Thanks for watching. Please check out some of my other videos. And if you enjoyed the topic today, send me the triple threat, a like, comment, even a subscription. I have a lot of great content on the way, and your interactions help grow the community. Take care. Later.